Well, hello there. We're here at the Great Exhibition. Sorry, let me do that again.
The Great Execution, what?
Yeah.
Could be a great execution, couldn't it?
Train show.
Today's video is sponsored by Trainomatic, makers of DCC decoders designed to be fully compatible with every manufacturer's locomotive. So hi, we're here at the Great Electric Train Show, and I'm really honoured to be able to have a chance to speak with Pete Waterman. So it's great to see you, and
Well, thank you.
brought this amazing layout here, and of course you've had that at Chester Cathedral.
Yeah.
And how did that come about? It's a very unusual location to display a model layout.
The Cathedral had a Lego exhibition, which was very successful, and so they wanted to do something different. And so they wanted to do a model railway exhibition, and they looked at some ideas, and they asked me would I go and have a look at their ideas. And this is a cathedral, I mean, and it wasn't particularly interesting. So you should never say to a bishop, I could do better than that, because they take you up. So it literally was this, we just thought, well, this would be a bit of fun. But he wanted it in O gauge, and I said, no, can't do it in O gauge, just isn't the time.
Yeah.
And I said, but if we did it in Formula 00, we could make a spectacular Formula 1. We had 68 feet by 20 feet. And he went, well, I said, trust me, it will look fantastic.
Yeah.
Once we've built it, it will look fantastic. And we'll build the West Coast, which I know really well. And so that's how it came about, really. And it was only on the day, and this is not an exaggeration, it's truth. Once we put it up on that Monday morning, and I actually saw the length of it in one piece, I just had to walk outside and sit down, because I thought, is this going to work?
So that was the first time you actually saw it all together?
It was that moment where you go, whoa, I haven't even thought this through. I mean, is this going to work?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was a sit down outside moment for 5 minutes and think about how we were going to do it. But a couple of 3 or 4 of us have worked exhibition layouts in the past. And so what we did, we came up with a system on the storage sidings of 1 in, 1 out, rather than what the Orby guys are doing here, which is bringing them up and stacking them. We just did 1 lane full, 1 lane empty, round, back in the empty one, swap it.
Yeah.
It meant that we could run a train on the front every 15 seconds. It meant for the public there were loads of trains on the front.
Yeah, so there's always something moving.
Yeah. And at scale speeds, because it's a scale mile, we could get the chips to work scale.
Yeah.
So we timed the Pendolinos at 80 miles an hour and the HSTs at 75. We got the steam engines at 65. So we could make things look really quite real. And that was the fun for us. We had scale length trains doing scale speeds.
And how long did it actually take you to do the scenic side of it and do the modelling?
November to April.
So not actually all that long.
No, we didn't have that time. I mean, we got the nod on November the 6th, and I said to all the boys, it's got to be finished by the 1st of April. We were finished the 2nd week in April. And then what we started to do, put the weathering on and start to tidy it up. But we were pretty well finished for April the 1st.
Right.
We had to be. We didn't have a choice. So when you're getting towards the end, instead of working 3 days a week, you're working 5 days a week.
Yeah, and there's nothing like a good deadline to hone the concentration.
No, absolutely right. And the amazing thing was, our biggest fear, nobody's ever done this before.
Yes.
So we didn't know whether the locos themselves would actually take the abuse that they were about to get.
Yeah.
Because we'd worked out that on the slow lines, which are on the outside as we're looking at it here, they're doing 0.5 of a mile a day.
Well, a real
mile.
Right, yeah.
The ones on the inside, the fast ones, are doing 0.7 of a mile a day.
Yeah.
So we're doing 6 days a week, 7 hours a day.
That's quite a lot.
Oh, well, the blue Pullman set the HST set, which is up there somewhere, that did 52 miles.
Really?
And I cleaned the wheels twice.
Really? And it's still as good now as when it
It's
first
been
went
around
on?
here since all day yesterday, all day today. Here it comes. Another fault. And the Pendolino did 55 miles.
That is brilliant, actually. And
not
it's
a fault.
testament to how good some of these new models are.
Well, listen, it's the truth. I was with Simon Collett on Tuesday at Margate, and I said to him, I'm not saying this because you're here. Well, I'm here. They did not let me down. I had two merchant navies, and they ran and ran and ran and ran and never once stopped. And I never cleaned the wheels at all.
I mean, do you have to lubricate them, or do
No,
they just
never touched them.
Brilliant.
In fact, I had a stick that anybody touched the locomotives to take them up by hit them. The rule was you don't touch them if they don't fail.
Yeah.
When they fail, call me and let's have a look what's wrong.
Yeah.
But if they're running, carry on.
That's it. If it isn't broken, don't try and fix it.
But everybody wants to play with them.
Yeah.
And so there's more fiddling goes on than's needed to be.
Yeah, and that's when you get problems creeping in.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is, I'm led to believe this is the last show that this will be out, is it?
Yeah.
Where it's all together?
Yeah, yes, this is it now. And Keffin Viaduct, which is the viaduct, that will never be seen again. That's it. That's finished.
So what's the fate for the layout? What's going to happen to it?
Well, we don't know yet, but next year I'm going back to the Cathedral, same period, with a brand new 64 feet.
Right.
This time it's going to be Kilsby Tunnel to Rugby.
Oh, right.
With all the flyovers. And then we'd like to in 2030, and this is a like, so people don't get too excited if this don't happen. We'd like to join the two together with an extra 36 feet in the middle.
So it's
and make 158 feet of Watford to Rugby.
Really, that is going to be something very special.
Yeah, but we don't know yet whether we can do it, because you've got all of the homes issues, all of the voltage issues, and also the transport issues. And I'm 76, so we're talking about trying to do it when I'm 79, and I can say I'm full of that now, but I mean the reality is whether we'll make it, we don't know.
No, but you're only as young, only as old as you think you are.
That's why we're making it in a cathedral. Yeah. We're hoping for a bit of a divine intervention.
Absolutely. And how's your other layout going, the Leamington Spa?
Yeah, brilliant, because we got back onto that since we came back just before here.
Yeah, because I suppose that's probably taken a back burner whilst you've been.
Yeah, it has. Which is a shame. And the other shock when you come back from this, because my Leamington Spa is longer than this and wider, it looks smaller. Yeah. Because suddenly you go in and it's going, oh, it don't look as big as it did before we went.
You need to put an extension on.
No, that's too old. I'm definitely too old for extensions. Definitely.
Brilliant. And so, are there any other plans for the future, railway-wise? Because you started out. I read that you actually worked as a fireman on British Rail.
Well, today, in fact, we're putting my class 55, my tank, my small Perry tank, that goes back into steam today.
Oh, right.
It's the first time in 5 years with overall. And I've got 3 more steam engines in the background ready to be finished.
Because you've got quite a fleet of locomotives.
Oh yeah, not as many as I used to have, thank God. And this will be the last time as well, because I'm now 76, as I say, so I'm a bit too old to look for 10 years. I'm definitely not going to be doing this at 86. That's for certain.
So, are any of your locomotives, I'm curious, are any of the locomotives that you own now ones that you worked on back in the day or not? No,
because the ones I own were all, the ones I own basically were South Wales or Cornwall. Right. So I'm a Midland man.
Right. So, I mean, was it quite a big leap of faith to buy your first one? Because they always say, how do you make a small fortune with a locomotive? It start with a big one.
Yeah. No, to be fair, and I'm being honest, they've been very good to me, because we built a very, very nice steam business. Very nice. And it paid for a lot of the luxuries of keeping these going. And when I sold it to Jeremy, he's been, he's what he's done for the railway I could have never done. So, he bought it wanting to protect what we started to protect. So, I still got little bits, but compared with what Jeremy's got, these guys, we should all be thankful to these guys because they keep our heritage alive. It isn't cheap.
I know, definitely. But I mean, it's a great thing to see that people are prepared to keep it alive.
He's passionate. He's as passionate as I am. He's so passionate. It's like he doesn't get the praises. It's like Bill McAlpine was. His love for the railway and what he did was never really recognised as it should have been.
Yeah, because some of the things that he preserved, which would have otherwise just been junked and skipped, and when you go to his house, the things that he effectively just saved from demolition sites, it's lovely to see that somebody was prepared to save these things.
Well, one of the things about this layout, because we've got catenary, I saved the 1s, 2s, 3s, 4s and 5s, so I did that on my own. But nobody, I mean, when I was buying the early electrics, everybody thought I was nuts. Now everybody goes to Barrow Hill and they go, there's 81 in here, 82, 83.
Yeah.
And that was what I did. I said, you know, nobody wants to preserve this, but at some point somebody's going to say, oh, I wish we'd have preserved an 81. Well, they're there.
And that's it with things like with the Baby Delta at the 23, because nobody preserved one, they're now recreating one, and they wouldn't have had to have done that if somebody would have stepped in and preserved one. I wanted to as well ask you about your time in the music industry. Do you still do anything in that area?
Yeah. Still, no, I'm not as busy as I used to be, obviously, because the lockdown's quietened it all down. But it's starting to pick up. I mean, everything's starting to pick up.
Yeah.
So,
but I mean, you're the guy responsible for basically the music of my childhood. It's
it was fun.
Yeah. Because I mean, you signed Kylie Minogue, Jason Donovan, Dead or Alive,
Rick Astley.
Definitely, yeah.
Bananarama, Steps, Donna Summer, Cliff Richard, God, yeah.
Am I right in thinking back in the 70s as well, you were responsible for...
Two-Tone?
Because the lead singer of The Specials.
Yes, I know. There's a documentary about to be aired on the BBC about the Specials. So I put them, I was their first manager.
Right.
And I did the first recordings with them,
And am I also right in thinking, I read that when you were doing the DJing, one of the things that you noticed was with the BPM of the records,
120.
the sweet spot. And did that influence a lot of the later music production that you did?
Oh yeah, without a doubt. It was because it was right at the very beginning when people didn't understand those things. Because they were all into rock. I wasn't into rock, I was into dance. And so, if you're into dance as a DJ, you work out which records get people dancing best. And I noticed that they were all about 120 BPM, which is what your heart rate is.
Yes.
So I just worked out for myself, well, if I make records at about 120, Spin Me Round's 126, which is slightly faster. But that was, if Peter had had his way, it would have been about 150. I slowed it down quite a lot from what he wanted. But it just, to me, it's just a pendulum. It's like a metronome. And if you get the metronome right, people can tap the feet and it works.
And it's a comfortable speed that people can do all night.
Yeah.
But no, that's brilliant. Look, thank you very much for talking with me, and thank you very much for watching this. Really indebted to Pete for taking the time out to have a quick chat with us. So you take care. Catch you later. Bye for now. Today's video is sponsored by Trainomatic, makers of DCC decoders designed to be fully compatible with every manufacturer's locomotive. Visit train-o-matic.com to browse the full range and see what they've got suitable for you. I'd like to send out a huge thanks to everybody who supports me on Patreon, and an extra special huge thanks goes out to Anthony Kidson, Offshore Allen, oorail.co.uk, Michael Lockie, Helen Sink, Peter Bolton, Brian and Dorothy Mudd, Gary Lewis, David Quinn, Sparky107107, George Botterini, Chris Moss, Robert Steers, MD of San Juan Model Company and Grantline Products, Sam Yates, Dale Williams, John N from NC, NYMRish, Jonathan Foster, Peter, Graham Foster, Clifford Ison, Larry W. Grant, NI Railways 4000 class, Ian Coulson, and Alan Dickerson. Thank you. Without you guys, I couldn't do this.